Welcome to Tyler's Tips. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my goals with photography for 2019. So for 2019, I really only have one goal with photography, and that is to create the best photos I possibly can. And before I get into how, I'm going to back up a little bit and talk a little bit about my relationship with photography. I have two lives with photography. One life is I'm in love with the process. I love creating photographs. I love the geeky, techie stuff, the lenses and the gadgety cameras and all that. And I love the storytelling and creating these compositions and lighting scenarios that tell stories and really touch people emotionally. I find that process to just be magical, and I never get tired of it. I love it. So that's one part of my relationship with photography. The other, sort of my other life with photography, is I use photography to support my family, which means, in my case, companies hire me to take photos that they then use to market their services or their products. And for them to choose to hire me, I have to create amazing photos. That's my job. And so to continue doing that and to stay relevant and to stay competitive, I actually really have to create even better photos every year. So to do that, to feed both the commercial side, where I have to, support my family, pay my mortgage, and to feed my soul as a photographer, fortunately for me, those two things are very aligned. I just need to work hard on creating the best photos I can. And how? What that means to me is, in this case, I guess different years I probably think different things, but right now what's forefront of my mind is the fundamentals. And for those of you who have listened to a few of my videos, you already know what those are. That's storytelling, that's composition, and it's light. Those three things, to me, are the backbone of every successful photograph. So how am I going to do that? What techniques, what tactics am I going to use to keep my focus on those fundamental ideas? And the answer, I have two ideas. One is sort of a big picture thing. I'm going to do 2 self-produced projects this year where I'm the producer, I'm the art director, I underwrite the whole thing, and within that I will create whatever story it is I want to create, and I will focus on those fundamentals. I'll keep the story where I want it. I will make sure my compositions are speaking clearly to that story. I'll make sure the lighting is such that it's really telling that story. So that's the big one, is doing these self-produced projects. And those are wonderful exercises to exercise those muscles. Exercise is a great word, to keep those muscles strong, the muscle of focusing on those fundamental ideas. So now, the second thing that I'm going to do, which is probably much more important, is I am going to try to remember those 3 ideas every single time I pick that camera up and put it to my face. Every time. So I shoot, the last couple of years I've shot between 30 and 40,000 frames for, sort of on the clock for my clients. And so that means in the coming year, I am going to try 30 or 40,000 times to think of those 3 fundamental ideas while I'm shooting. Is this telling the story? What is the story even? Just to have that really clearly in my mind. What's the story I'm trying to tell? Is this composition I'm working, is that good for this story? Is it telling this story, or is it fighting the story? If it is fighting it, what can I change? How can I move? What can I do differently? What can I take out? What can I add? The light. Is the light complementing the story? Is the light feeding the story and making sense with what's going on? Or is it fighting it a little bit? And if it is fighting it, what can I do to change it? If it is working, is there anything I can do to amp it up, to turn up the volume, to make that light even more powerful as sort of a contributing factor to the story? So that little moment to moment, every time I'm taking a photo, trying to think about those very fundamental ideas, is probably the thing that's going to have the bigger effect. So, but those are the 2 things I'm going to do. My personal projects, and then really trying to keep those 3 ideas, storytelling, light, and composition all at the forefront of my mind while I'm shooting. So what are you trying to do in 2019 with your photography, and how are you going to get there? If you have any ideas around that you want me to talk about in a future Tyler's Tip, just let me know, shoot me an email, and I'll work it into a future episode. As always, thank you for your time, and I look forward to the next one.